Good morning, everyone. Welcome to beautiful El Dorado Park. Glorious day. Seeing a lot of familiar faces out there. So I usually get into these programs and everyone says, you forgot to introduce yourself. So let me welcome you. I'm your Parks, Recreation, and Marine Director, Brent Dennis, and it's really a pleasure to have a gathering of friends for a very appropriate moment in the life and history of this beautiful park. We do have a few people that we'd like to recognize in advance of getting into the program. But, one of the important roles of our Parks and Recreation Commission is to review and deliberate and approve important matters such as what we're celebrating today. So representing our Parks and Recreation Commission is David Zanato over here, smartly dressed. Thank you, David, for being here today. David has served on the commission for 10 years, a decade. So last Thursday, we gave him the Commissioner of the Decade Award. So he's contributed a lot. We're really pleased to have our city manager, Tom Modica, here. He's back here in the shade. He's actually a neighbor of the park. So he keeps a good watchful eye on the park. There's a lot of things going on, as you can see, in and around us. So, but again, that's why we're here today. Just to start our program, we always like to honor our country with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've been fortunate enough to have Charlotte, who's graduated from 4th grade into 5th grade at Prisk Elementary. It's right here in District 4. So she's going to help us do the Pledge of Allegiance. So Charlotte, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you for doing this.
Put your right hand over your heart. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You may be seated.
Thank you. You did great. Bravo. Probably a future mayor someday. Good job, Charlotte. Thank you. So, these kind of programs never come together as seamlessly as they do without the help of all the behind-the-scenes folks. So we have the great crew of LBTV. They're actually, recording and broadcasting this. So I thank that crew. They get here early. They have all the right stuff. And it makes it really a wonderful event to share with those that couldn't be here for this joyous occasion. Also, our Community Recreation Services team, we don't even have to ask. They just know how to put all this together. The fun. So Gladys Kaiser and Ted Stevens and Stephanie and Andrea, everybody here at the center, I thank you. I never worry about that. I show up, everything's in place, and it's just beautiful. There was this R word this past year called redistricting, and it really kind of reshuffled kind of how we understand, what's what in this beautiful city. So July 6th is actually my second year birthday here as your director. And, when I landed here, it was one thing to kind of figure out of our 167 parks, which of the elected officials were really interested in the parks within the footprint of their district. And then lo and behold, in the past year, they kind of redrew the boundaries. So I'm still retraining my brain. But it was really a pleasure working initially with Stacy Mungo, because this beautiful park was in Council District 5, and then as things were massaged around, Councilman Darrell Supernaw became the district councilman that really oversees and is very interested and passionate in everything at all levels about what goes on in all the parks in his district. So it's my honor and privilege to welcome the councilman forward to say a few words. So welcome, Councilman Supernaw.
Thank you, Brent. And first to the attendees, we have some seats up in front in the shade. If you'd like to move forward, please feel free. Welcome, and thank you all for attending this event. It's only fitting that redistricting happened, and this came into the 4th District. It was traditionally the 4th District when Tom Clark served. And also, I'd like to welcome Tom Clark's daughter, Carol Quinlan, for being here today. And even more fitting, Brent mentioned redistricting. Carol is now a fourthie. Through redistricting, she's now in the 4th District. Oh, you moved, okay. Well, she's a fourthie for a while. Okay. Anyway, and also to Brent, I would like to say that, thank you for staging this all today. And it's not just a sign on the wall. If you can imagine, when I was a kid, we called this Palo Verde stone. And a lot of these had to be replaced and cleaned, and they've done a beautiful job there, too. And Brent, although he's new to the city, he is very talented, has a long history in working in Parks and Rec in other communities. And he got this. He understood the significance and the appropriateness of this naming right away. So thank you, Brett, for that support. And speaking of dignitaries, we have Councilmember Roberto Uranga. Thank you for being here, Councilman, from the 7th District, and just re-elected a couple of weeks ago, so congratulations on that. And for me, I have to say this is one of the most gratifying days since taking office 7 years ago. And I can put that number 7 years in perspective. That's less than a quarter of the time Tom Clark served this district. But I had a discussion with Tom Clark. It didn't start out this way, but he was able to communicate to me that if the city ever decided to honor him in any way, he would want it to be affiliated with El Dorado Park. And I was initially pretty shocked by that. It's not that this isn't significant, but Tom Clark was a mover and a shaker through the renaissance of downtown Long Beach. So all those huge buildings down there you see, that happened on Tom Clark's watch. But this is what was nearest and dearest to his heart. And I didn't quite understand it till I studied the issue a little more. And Tom Clark, before serving, beginning a 46-year career in elected office, he was a Parks and Rec commissioner. And he led the charge to acquire this land, float a bond measure. And I'd known that fact, but I just didn't know the significance or the odds that were against him. If you can imagine, in the early 60s, he was surrounded by developers. And first of all, he was a good friend of Lloyd Whaley, but you still had Lloyd Whaley to the southwest. You had Mark Taper. Have you heard the Mark Taper Forum? Yeah, he's the guy who built Lakewood. He was to the north. And you had Ross Cortez, who built Rossmore, to the east. So this was prime land for development. And Tom Clark saw the need for open space, but more importantly, he had the ability to execute it. And that's why we enjoy this open space today. So it's so gratifying to me to actually help make this happen. And I think it just will serve for generations. The nice part about a community center is his name keeps reappearing. As we host events here, it'll be at the Tom Clark Community Center. So that's also very special. I also like to mention that okay, Tom is here. But I also just want to mention briefly that Tom was also an advocate for social justice. He was very, very proud of the fact that he and his colleagues elected the very first African-American vice mayor, James Wilson, in 1980, and he served 2 terms. So I know Tom would like that mentioned today. And also, people have asked me, why did you wait a year to initiate this naming? In fact, they said, nobody does that anymore. In fact, we name stuff for people who are still alive. And I can tell you that when Tom served, the rule was to wait a year, and he had a good rationale for that. And I waited a year out of respect for Tom. I know he would want me to follow the rules, so that was it. And also knowing that what he wanted, it took a little bit of time to execute that. Not that we had to wait till I was a council member here, but it was just a little more challenging, but I'm so happy that we got it done. I think also we had a lot of nice celebrations when Tom was alive. I remember the one, Carol, you were at the one at Los Altos, where we had, I think it was the first time in city history, we had 5 former vice mayors and 5 former mayors at that event. And I just gave a personal anecdote that my family's relationship with Tom involved an award my dad had gotten as a Long Beach firefighter. They call it the Hero Award. And he got it at age 56. And the story was, running gag in our family. So people say to my dad, boy, 56, that's pretty old to be getting a hero award. And he said, well, I had to wait till my councilman was made mayor so he could sign the document. So I told that story, and then that got a life of its own. And they asked me, what is with this award? Was there a ceremony and all that? I said, yeah, I think there was, but I wouldn't have attended that. Not that I'm proud of that fact today, but that was that generation. It was not a big deal. It was understated. And this was a generation that grew up in the Depression, served in World War II, and for my dad, went to work in the fire department. He didn't expect any awards, and he didn't make any big deal out of it. And I think Tom was that same way, very understated. And it was not a self-celebratory generation. So that's why it's most appropriate that this event is happening today after Tom's death. I think he that would be the comfort level he would have of it. So sorry for that detailed explanation, but I think it's very important. And then finally, I guess we're going to do the unveiling now. Oh, here's another quintessential Long Beach story. The sign here was built by Machen Sign owner Jeff Machen and his dad Bob Machen, and quintessential small Long Beach. Bob Livingston, who served on the Parks and Rec Commission, bought the dad's house and lived on Greenbrier there in the 4th District. So there you go. And there are all kinds of connections like this, and just like my dad's connection with Tom Clark and the certificate, I think that's what makes Long Beach great. Also, the fact that we have a youth soccer group going on right now, this is quintessential Tom Clark right here. You think of all the years that he served. Stearns Park and El Dorado had 2 different Little Leagues in his own district, and he attended every grand opening, every opening day, I should say, and just was really, really close to and supportive of youth sports. So, Carol, if you're ready, are we set for one more thing? Okay, I'm sorry. So we have a representative from the mayor's office to make a presentation, so if we can have that now, appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Very, very appropriate honors and words. So, yeah, we have Richard Blackman, who's a field deputy for Mayor Garcia. Mayor Garcia was planning to be here. I think he had some flight changes getting back from Washington, D.C., so we're honored to have you here for a presentation. So welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Brent, and thank you, Councilman Supernaw, for all the work that you all have done. Yes, the mayor sends his regrets for not being here, but it's my honor to be here today to present a certificate. I actually have 2, one for the center and then one for the family as well, too. For the naming of the Thomas J. Clark Community Center today, for his distinguished service as a monumental leader with commitment to public service. His contributions to our city are truly admirable and inspiring to us all. On behalf of the city of Long Beach, we thank Dr. Clark for the legacy that he's left in our community. And it's my pleasure to present this for the family of the community center today. Thank you.
Okay, now Carol Clark Quinlan is going to assist in the unveiling of the new signage. So get your cameras ready.
While they're situating themselves at Accord, glass will help with direction here. So as council member was kind of acknowledging all the behind scenes work. So Oscar and Dave with our park maintenance, they actually did all the painting and all the restoration work up front. And then Dustin, I don't think he's here, but he was the gentleman that worked on procuring the signage contract and overseeing it. So I just wanted to give all of them also a shout out. So since we're in Council District 4, we'll do from the number 4 countdown. And then when we hit I guess 1, then hopefully a gentle tug will reveal. Oh, do you want to move this? Oh, Okay. The benefit of wireless right now. So. Okay. Actually, I want to get this also. It's for posterity, so hang on. Video. All right, so as we gathered together here on this beautiful day in June, we're celebrating the naming of this wonderful community center in honor of Dr. Thomas J. Clark. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Pull hard. Yay! Hey, that wasn't bad with no dry run, so congratulations to the Clark family. Carol, we're so pleased you could be here to represent your father and his legacy. Would you like to say anything? Just a few things? Okay.
Yeah, I will tell one little story. So my dad actually used the senior center. After my mom died, he was still in his house over near Stanford Junior High, and he joined the book club here. So he actually did use the senior center. He loved the park, obviously, but he did use the senior center. So it is appropriate in that way. And every 6 weeks, because I moved, I'm down near in Bluff Park, but my dog groomer is across the street. So every 6 weeks when Puppy gets groomed, I drop him off. I'm not driving all the way back home. Run errands, do whatever, but I hang out here. It's just lovely here. Use the restroom in there. They're lovely and kind people in there. So I will now be able to sit and look at that sign while I'm waiting for Puppy to get groomed. And then I take him to walk in the park. So I go to the nature center once a week. I mean, I love this park. It's fantastic. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Carol. And just another small Long Beach story. So Councilmember Uranga, who is here today, I should have mentioned, he actually served for years on the Long Beach City College Board of Trustees with Dr. Clark. So that's your connection. And so just another story like that. And just really appreciate you all being here today. And thank you. And I'll close with Go Forth.